Hello and welcome back again. My name is Steven and today, welcome to the patch notes. And this patch is for the Fabulous, which is the 6.20 patch, I believe. Is it 6.20? Yes, it is. It's the 6.20 patch. I can't believe it. I forgot about that. I'm starting off well. But either way, today is a 6.20 patch, which is the Ivern patch and the Star Guardian patch, which is fucking awesome. So, starting off, let's talk about the new champion, Ivern. So, quickly off, first of all, Ivern is a new jungler coming into the game, and he is this, like, a mixture of Nunu with Bard type ordeal. He's a jungler that is also a support, basically. And he's actually kind of interesting. So, let's go over his abilities. First of all, we have his passive, called Friend of the Forest. Friend of the Forest, basically, Ivern will not attack non-epic monsters. Click on a jungle monster, creates a grove, which grows over time. Which is a couple of seconds, up to 40, all the way down to 6 seconds, based on your level. Now, each grove actually costs a certain amount of mana, so some idea would go from at level 1 it'll be 174 HP and 135 mana, all the way down. It'll actually go up into about a midpoint where it will start decreasing, and it will end up with the HP value being 161 and the mana cost being 67. If you want full stats, I'll remember, just go check out Surrender at 20 or go check out anything that Riot posts about Ivern. It'll be all on there, but make sure to check out Surrender 20. They have a lot more. They go in a little bit more detail on a lot more of the stats. So that's pretty cool. Continue on. When a grove is fully grown, clicking on the monsters will set them free, giving gold and experience. Smiting a grove will instantly freeze the monsters. At level 5 and higher, if Ivern frees a buff monster, an extra buff is created for an ally. If an ally kills a buff monster, the buff is left for Ivern. So basically what this short it means is Ivern is unable to kill monsters, so he has to click on them to create this like grove thing that it talks about, and after a couple seconds you'll click on it and you'll get your XP and your gold from it without actually killing them, which is a very interesting take on the jungle, and I actually quite like this. Now, the second part at level 5 about the buff thing is that Ivern is able to create 2 reds and 2 blues for himself and an ally. So you click on them. So you click on your buff, you create the grove, and as soon as the grove is done, you take it. And if you're level 5, like this little orb thing will drop from the buff monster. And if an ally goes into this circle around the buff, it will instantly give him that buff. So a good thing that I've seen, because I'm actually recording this a few hours after the patch, so I've already seen a few Iverns. And it's quite interesting, because Ivern actually would do these camps, and as soon as he hits level 5, it would like start calling in the AD carry if he's on blue side, or he would call in the top lane if he's on the red side to grab the red buff. And when he does his blue, it would always call the mid laner in, and it's really interesting because depending on which side you're on, so whether the top lane is going to get it or the AD carry is going to get the red buff, actually creates a huge amount of power that this little passive is able to do. Even though it's not much, it is actually able to give you so much power in lane. So, now, personally, I think he's a little bit better on the red side. I've seen giving it the red buff to the top lane is a little bit more useful at the early game, you know, in early stages of the game, than giving it to AD carry, until your AD carry is a little bit, you know, further on in the game. And this may be sounding a little bit weird, because I'm an AD carry main, so I would want all the reds, wouldn't I? But so far, that's how it just feels. It just feels like Ivern does better giving it to the top lane early game to allow them to get the snowballing started quite early on as possible. But overall, this little change, no, it's not even a change, this is new. This little, like, passive is actually really interesting, and I can't wait to see what some people actually get to do with this ability. Next up, we have Ivern's Q. It's called Root Caller. Ivern conjures a vine dealing from 80 up to 260 AP, plus 70% of his AP in magic damage, and rooting the first enemy hit for 1.2 seconds all the way up to 2 seconds. Allies can click on this rooted enemy to dash to them. This is insane. So this is another thing why I think he's a little bit better on the red side to give the red buff to his top laner, as this actually also really enhances the top laners a huge bunch. So one thing that when you think about a majority of top laners such as Darius, Nasus, these types of top laners are very immobile and they're extremely easy to kite, right? Well, if Ivern can hit this ability, all of a sudden, you can't kite. You're instantly fucked. Because as soon as he lands it, Darius, if they've got a Darius or a Nasus, they can click on you, dash straight towards you, and just let load for all their damage onto your face. It's disgusting, and I definitely can't wait to see some people actually using this one alongside the top laners, or maybe even some support such as Braum might get a lot out of this ability. Now, as for AD carries and for mid laners, it doesn't seem to be as useful for, because it's actually very dependent on your auto attack range, which is kind of nice, but it's still a little bit But basically, if the longer your attack range is, the less dash you get, because you don't dash straight on top of them if you're an AD carry. You are always placed at the edge of your attack range, which is somewhat interesting, but again, I would rather give that to the top laner rather than an AD carry. It's just a little bit better. So, next up, we have Ivern's W, called Brushmaker. This is one of the most interesting abilities that he currently has, and basically, his passive side of it is inside of a bush, Ivern's attacks are range and deal 20 up to 60 plus 30% of his AP as bonus magic damage, which is really interesting. It allows him to have the melee and the range style, depending if he's in a bush or not. But to go with that passive is active, Ivern grows a patch of brush for 30 seconds, for 3 seconds in an area, and around the brush is revealed. This is really interesting, especially in certain team compositions. So, loads of you should have already seen videos on this where they have an Ivern and a Rengar. It is ridiculous because Rengar can use Ivern's bushes to jump from, meaning Rengar gets ridiculous amounts of power just from this one champion. And it's a lot like Yasuo with Malphite. He gets a lot out of Malphite, the Yasuo, and Rengar is going to be the same with Ivern, and it's a really interesting duo that you can do, and you'll definitely be interested to see if we actually see the Rengar Ivern be coming out in in professional play. That will be really, really interesting. So next up, we have Ivern's E, called Trigger Seed. So Trigger Seed is Ivern allies an enemy, absorbing up to 80 all the way up to 240 plus 80% of his AP damage as damage. So that's how much damage he's able to absorb. After 2 seconds, the shield bursts, dealing 60 all up to 180 plus 70% of his AP as magic damage, and slowing the enemies by 70% for 3 seconds, which is actually quite a lot. Now, the way how this basically works is a lot like Sion's shield, where he will put it on himself. After a few seconds, it will explode, doing damage. Now, for Ivern, it's the exact same, but he can actually place it on allies as well instead of just himself, which is a little bit better. Makes him feel a little bit more of the sporty eye side of him. But it's a very basic ability. He's actually his only full-on basic ability, really. So next up, we have Ivern's ultimate, and it's called Daisy! Ivern summons his Sentinel Daisy friend. If Daisy attacks the same enemy champion 3 times in a row, she will create a shockwave, knocking enemies up for 1 second. This has a 3-second cooldown. Daisy gains additional damage and defenses based on Ivern's ability power. So basically how it goes is Daisy's stats are very rank dependent. So you start off at 1,250 health, and it will scale all the way up to 3,500 health. The resistances will go from 20 all up to 120, which is actually quite a jump depending on what rank it is. And the attack speed goes from 30 up to 70%, which is actually a huge, huge amount. So, Daisy lasts for 60 seconds, the cooldown starts as soon as the ability cast. Daisy will dance with Ivern, and Daisy will wave goodbye to Ivern when she's disappearing, which is actually kind of sweet. Kind of. So this is actually really interesting. Now it feels a lot like Tibbers of Annie's ultimate, but instead of being ridiculously strong like Tibbers is, the Daisy at the moment seems a little bit weak in my opinion. It's just first impressions. She seems a little bit weak, but that being said, this ability for Ivern is basically the tank side of it, because a lot of junglers need to be tanks at the moment. You also have your carry junglers, but Ivern is not a carry jungler. Ivern is a support jungler, meaning he needs to kind of bring a more tankier side due to his lack of damage. So he's a utility and defense type of champion, and he doesn't have a lot of defense in his kit other than Trigger Seed of his E, but using Daisy is basically your tank option, which you can see that just from seeing the amount of health Daisy can get and the resistances, which is quite a lot for just a monster, really. So using this in a team fight also can also create like a lot of like barriers for the enemy as they want to get close to your backline, but they have to get through Daisy because they can't just ignore Daisy because of the passive effect of it where it will knock you up. So you do need to be a bit more wary of her, but at the moment it doesn't seem that much of an impactful ability. Ivern just reeks of being one to be a big support, just keep his allies, peel for them, and things like that. That is what he's coming across, but that's Ivern. He's a really interesting jungler, and I can't wait to see what some people start doing with him, because he's definitely got the potential of being a really awesome champion. I probably think he's going to be like a little bit like Bard, where he's going to be a little bit of a troll pick for a while until somebody can actually go, this is how you play him, and then everyone starts playing him how he's meant to be played. Because it took a while for Bard to become the top support that he is now, but let's hopefully he can get there eventually. So let's move on to some skins, and obviously we need to start off with Ivern's first skin, which is called Candy King, and this skin is really interesting. I love the splash art, by the way, because in the splash art you have a little lollipop of Lollipoppy, which is beautiful. So basically overall this skin is basically takes Ivern from the grassy guy all the way into the land of sweets. He's made of muffins, licorice and all that type of stuff, donuts, and it's glorious. He's made out of candy. What else do you want me to say, really? It looks quite cool. Yeah, awesome. The next skin we have on the docket is actually for the Star Guardians, starting with the first one out of the four, being Star Guardian Janna. Star Guardian Janna is a really interesting skin. I actually really like this one. And out of all of them, it seems like loads of people are a bit like, they don't seem to like this one as much from what the community's been like posting around, that the Janna one doesn't seem as much liked, but I think this is one of the best skins at the moment. But that's just personal opinion. I think this skin is a beautiful one. It's really funny. I just love the lore that they've done with the Star Guardians. I did make a video about this in the past, if you want to go and watch that, where I talk about the Star Guardians when they first was revealed. And it had like a little bit of lore stuff, and it was tying in with how the characters actually are in their lores, and mix it in with the Star Guardian theme, and it's really cool and interesting to read. So go back to watch that video if you want, but that's the Star Guardian Janna. Next up, we have Star Guardian Lulu, and again, this skin looks awesome. And, you know, I own pretty much all of the Lulu skins. I think Lulu's a great champion, and this skin for Lulu is equally as cool. I love the whole idea. The only thing I have that's a little bit of a that I don't really like as much for this skin is that the skin really looks out of place, in my opinion, a little bit. Especially the splash art. It's the same for Poppy as well. Is that the skin just seems a little bit too bright. Like, it just doesn't seem to work with the colours that they've got in the League map. You know, it just doesn't feel right. The Janna one and the Jinx one, I think, look fine. They match in, but the Lulu, one stands out a bit too much. Now for Poppy, I think Poppy's okay. Kind of. Still stands out a little bit too much in my opinion, but it's not as bad. But talking about Poppy, we have Star Guardian Poppy. It's also another cool looking skin. So again, you know, this is actually the Poppy's first skin ever since she's got a rework. And it's actually her first skin in quite some time, because I believe the last skin she was released was Battle Regalia, I think it was. I'm not too sure, don't quote me on that, but I think that was the last skin that she ever got. But now she's gotten a new one. She's got the Star Guardian skin. It looks beautiful. And yeah, just go smack people with stars, I guess. Now, the one that we are all been waiting for. It's the legendary skin for Jinx. Star Guardian Jinx. The newest legendary coming into League. And oh my god, is it beautiful. So, this one is probably going to be the most biased one out of all of them. This skin's the best skin that they've released this year, I think. Yeah, definitely. And that's a bit more biased since I am an AD carry main and I main Jinx, so there's a little bit of bias going on there. You know, she's an awesome champion. I love the Star Guardian theme, and I'm so glad that they've given Star Guardian to Jinx. You know, I love the fucking Lux one. I think Lux's skin, I'm trying to remember back. Last year when I did the top 10, I think Star Guardian Lux got really high up in that because I really like that theme. And it's just like a godsend that they've given it to Jinx. It's the most beautiful thing ever, and I can't wait for the thing to damn come out so I can instantly buy this shit. Just get the hype rolling. But that one is the Star Guardian Jinx. We need to move on. So next up on the table, we have the wards. So first of all, we have the Star Guardian ward to go with the other Star Guardian stuff. And then the one at the bottom is actually for the new board game that Riot are releasing, which I can't remember what it's called now. I'm having a blank. It's called Mech and Minions, which is quite cool. So that's the ward that's going to be basically like representing it, kind of, I guess, which is kind of cool. And going on from the Star Guardian stuff, we also have Star Guardian fucking minions coming in this patch, which is so cool. I love when they do these little things to the minions, and I personally think they should just leave these in, because they don't really change up the game that much. They just, you know, they make the minions look a bit cooler. And I think that they should keep, because there's two of them that I can think of that they should keep in. You have the Star Guardian ones now, and you also have the Project ones. I think these two should really stay in the game, not the Christmassy ones. The Christmassy ones are, you know, the Christmassy, they should stay, you know, they should only come out at Christmas, those ones. But as for the Star Guardian and the Project one, they should be all year round. I think they should just depend if you have one of those champions in your game is when it changes the minions, I think. But if Riot don't want to do that, then what can we judge? But they look cool either way. So, going on from that, we have the new icons coming into this patch. So, first of all, I'm not sure how I'm going to label this, but I'll do it in a certain order. So, at the top will be the Pick'em icons. So, the Pick'em icons are basically about the Pick'em for worlds. So, they are very dependent on how many points. So, if you get a certain amount of points, you will get an icon. And if you just, you know, do it, you get another icon. So, this is quite cool. So, if you did it last year, I can't remember exactly the amount of points you had to get. I think it was about 35. I think you just had to get about 35 points and you got an icon. But if you don't know the rewards you get, if you get so many points, you'll get an icon. And if you get every single thing correct, you will get, this year at least, every single ultimate skin ever released, which is the Pulse Fire, Ezreal, the Spirit Guard Udyr, and DJ Sona. They are the skins you actually get if you get them all right, but the chances of you getting them all right is really low, because last year, only one person got it right. The next icon is the Mechs versus Minions icon, so this goes again with the board game, just like the ward was. And then below that, we have the fabulous 8 icons, which are going to be released for the Star Guardians. Now, I'm going to say, and I think the one that has a picture of the ward, the picture of the Lux one. I think the Lux one is going to be the free one, because they normally give out one for free, kind of. It's for IP, but it's kind of free. But it's only for a limited time. I think the Lux one is going to be that free one, or possibly the one with a star with wings. Maybe not, because you gotta remember, these icons are going to be representing a champion, right? So you have the ones at the bottom, which will be all the monsters. You have the 2 Jinx ones, you have Janna's, Lulu's, and then you have the hammer for Poppy, the staff for Lux, and then I can't remember what the other one is. I'm having a blank, but they're the icons and they look quite cool. Now, talking about Star Guardian Lux, Star Guardian Lux is getting a bit of an update in this patch, due to the fact the other Star Guardians are coming in, and this Star Guardian Lux apparently looks a bit outdated with the colours, so they decided to go back, they brighten it up a bit, they've tweaked some of the textures to make it look a bit better, and also they've also added in a home guard effect to the Star Guardian Lux, due to the fact the other Star Guardians actually all have this home guard effect now, so nice little change there, which is kind of cool. So that is the 620 patch. It's a really interesting patch, and I can't wait to see people take on Ivern and get some better, some stuff with him done. And I can't wait for the new skins to come out. So that's everything. If you guys have all enjoyed today's video, make sure to do all the normal YouTubey stuff, and I'll see you all in the next one. Till then, everyone, peace out.